baby, I'm Dr. Stefan Strange. Do you have problems with liver? Maybe your glands are underperforming. Well, here at Strange Academy, we can get you running almost as good as new because any procedure costs for $59.99. How can I do it? It's magic. Okay, so this is a teaching school, and what we're teaching these students is how to do surgery for very much money. With our new non-invasive magic procedures, we can do anything from perform plastic surgery to more impressive plastic surgery. And we're meeting most of the health guidelines. For an extra $10, we can perform your surgery on Zoom.
Doctor, please help me.
Is no problem, very sick man. Oh, wait. It says here you wanted me to remove your lymph nodes. Whoops. I gave you lung toads. And by that I mean I filled your lungs with frogs. So come to Strange Academy. We have magical procedure for everything. Well, almost everything. We can't make you be happy to be watching played out comic book review show, but well, try and enjoy show, yet. Welcome back to Comic Book Issues. I'm your host, Brian Heinz. A school to teach children how to use their magical powers, you say? One staffed by the greatest sorcerers of our times and various magical creatures in subservient roles, you say? Best of all, it has nothing to do with J.K. Rowling's transphobic ass, you say? Well, no, I say all of that. But while School for Magic isn't anything new, you'd be surprised just how common this theme is in comic books. Today, we question if Dr. Strange ever got his teaching license as we review Strange Academy, Issues 1 and 2. With Doctor Strange's success in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and his recent string of hit comic books, it came time for Marvel to bust out one of their favorite story ideas. Established characters start a school for younger, new characters. An idea that goes all the way back to the New Mutants in 1982. In fact, the X-Men are prime candidates for the School for Gifted Students idea, with follow-up books like New X-Men, Young X-Men, All New X-Men, all following up on the idea of a new class of students being taught by more established X-Men teams. Finally, the idea has become more and more established outside of the X-Men corner of Marvel, as we've seen books like Avengers Academy, Future Foundation, and even upcoming books like New Warriors. But that leaves one of the most underutilized populations in the Marvel Universe open to the idea of further education: the magical characters. Despite inevitable comparisons to Harry Potter, this type of book almost always is a natural in comics. Scotty Young, normally known for his artwork, but recently responsible for the art and writing on his image title, I Hate Fairyland, takes on the narrative duties for this book, with veteran superstar artist Humberto Ramos as the penciler. The first issue opens with a letter to Dr. Strange from one Emily Bright. All her life, Emily's been able to innately use magic, even bringing her dog Emma back to life after an accident once. She needs to understand her power and wants the doctor's help. Later, while testing her magical powers out, she grows a field of flowers, but the tree she's next to goes all Wizard of Oz and tries to eat her. Her life is saved by Zelma Stanton, Dr. Strange's assistant. She destroys the tree, and then explains that when Emily grew the flowers, she demoned up that tree. It's the classic give-and-take paradox of magic. Zelda has a sit-down with the Bright family. The creature in the tree was drawn to Emily's power. She must learn to control her magical abilities before something else big, dark, and scary gobbles her up. Later, she's taken to a seemingly abandoned field in New Orleans. But behind a cloaking spell, she's introduced to the Strange Academy. She begins meeting fellow students: Shaylee Moonpetal of the Fairy World, Alvi and Eirik of Asgard, as well as Gooselog, a frost giant brought in by Loki. As if seeing a frost giant isn't upsetting enough for the Asgardians, they're confronted by Doyle Doramu, a demon. They start a fight, but it's broken up by Brother Voodoo. Doyle is the son of Doramu, Dr. Strange's archenemy, but also a student here. Other students include Zoe, Calvin, and another apparent demon, Desi. The main campus has the usual assortment of Hogwarts-esque classrooms. They see the library in the local swamp, where we meet one more student, Toth from Weird World. He's the quiet sort. The kids then have a sort of G-rated key party as they learn their roommates in the dormitory. Emily finds herself with Shaylee and Eirik with Doyle. The kids get to talking around the snack table, and Desi gets a bit existential. Turns out her full name is Despair, and she's from Limbo.
Calvin and Alvy share a room, but Calvin is a bit disappointed that his roommate doesn't know Thor or any of the big cool Asgardian heroes. If only there were some way to fix that.
Hi, I'm Vushtag of the Warriors 3, and I'm now available to film a personal endorsement or even wish a loved one a happy birthday now that I'm on Shoutout, the app that puts you in touch with your favorite superhero. Look, I'm not going to lie, times are tough since Thanos destroyed Asgard. I've had to shave off my giant beard to avoid being recognized by my creditors. I'm starving so much I've wasted a veil to nothing. Well, that's pretty bad, considering I used to weigh 7,000 pounds. So now for 8,000 shekels, I don't know what kind of current currency Earth is using. You can hire me to record a message. I don't even know if this is an accurate Norse accent, but I'll do it, by gum. Just send me the money, or a roast turkey.
Shaylee explains that she's half human, but since humans aren't allowed in the fairy realm, she grew up without a father. She and Emily become fast friends, even as Eirik and Doyle obviously hate one another, and student Germain can't get a word out of Toth. However, there's an odd moment with Despair and Zoe. Zoe is from New Orleans, but she has a secret. Despair can see it despite her protests, but Desi won't tell it. The next morning, Voodoo explains that once magic was destroyed and restored, again in Jason Aaron's Doctor Strange run, the need for a school to teach the next generation how to control magic was evident. We meet the rest of the staff, including Hellstorm, Necro from Runaways, the Scarlet Witch, Magic of the X-Men, and Shaman of Alpha Flight. Doyle wants to know, where is Doctor Strange? Well, he leads a very busy... And then Doctor Strange shows up fighting a monster and the whole school body joins in. Calvin's jacket comes to life and attacks. Germain becomes a saber-tooth made of light. It's messy, but they defeat the monster, and much bonding is had. Doctor Strange welcomes them to his academy and suggests they don't die. Issue 2 opens with the kids waking to their first day of school. Doyle explaining the academy has a policy of expelling anyone who fails a class. The kids head to the history of mystical objects taught by Doctor Strange's teacher, the Ancient One. He summons a djinn.
I'll take my gin with a tonic chaser. You ain't never had a friend like me. In fact, you're my only friend, little cocktail.
They then have the rest of the class to get the gin back in its bottle. Second period is zombie studies with Brother Voodoo. Third period is reality manipulation with the Scarlet Witch. And fourth period is gym. Fifth period is Inferno 101 with Magic and Hellstorm. She begins to explain the levels of hell when Eirik arrives. Late and belligerent, she sends him to hell. Doyle too, since he enjoys it a little too loudly. Don't be late to class, and respect your fellow students. They might one day save your life. Later, Emily is with Zelda in the library. She asks the obvious question, if there's a cost to magic, why can they use it freely on the academy grounds? All Zelda would say is that the teachers have taken care of that for the students. Meanwhile, the boys are having a hard time as we meet the doom popular kids. I know they're the doom popular kids because they cast a spell to make fun of portly Calvin.
Sure. Make fun of the fat kid who likes video games. Make fun of him for watching cartoons. Make fun of him for, God forbid, liking comic books. But one day when you're sitting at home with your beautiful wife and your 1.5 children after a hard day's work at your Fortune 500 company, you'll turn on YouTube and that nerd will be there, reviewing a comic book you've never heard of. Then what? Well, then he'll probably say that guy looks familiar, but he won't be able to place him, and it doesn't matter anyway because he's got to put the kids to bed. They've got a big day ahead of them tomorrow. Oh.
Anyway, the 8th and final period ends with Man-Thing teaching the kids some botany, but Toth doesn't really get it. Afterwards, in the teacher's lounge, the consensus is that the first day went well, but Zelda brings up Emily asking about the cost. Voodoo reminds her they've taken care of it, but she considers that answer a lie. Afterwards, at the dorms, the kids are relaxing. Calvin is playing games with his jacket, Despair won't stop staring at Zoe, and eventually a portal to hell spits Doyle and Eirik out. Is there any dinner left?
And faster than you can say abracadabra, but backwards, we have the first 2 issues of Strange Academy. Admittedly, we're a little behind as the book's publishing has been delayed due to the publishing freeze for a few months because of COVID. These 2 issues do a lot of unpacking, but possibly not enough. Let's take a closer look at Strange Academy issues 1 and 2.
Well, as I've mentioned, this is a formula that Marvel keeps revisiting. Established superheroes start training a new generation. If anything, I think Marvel does this a bit too much, as there are so many new characters that get created and then never used again, but that's neither here nor there. At least they stopped doing this exclusively in the mutant universe and have expanded to the Avengers and other super teams. Melody is clearly meant to be our entry character, as the opening of issue number 1 is dedicated to introducing her and her problems before the rest of the issue just becomes about setting up the school, its student body, and staff. By the second issue, we're establishing relationships. Calvin's unpopular. Desi knows something about Zoe. Eric and Doyle don't like each other. That said, there's not much in the way of plot development. There's the briefest hint that the teachers are hiding something from the children. Of course, it's necessary to set up everything at the start of any story, but it never feels like we get going in these first 2 issues. I think the book would benefit from a smaller class. Right now, the Academy has like 10 or 12 students we're focusing on, and nearly as many teachers. It's no wonder nothing happens, as we need to devote so much time to setting up every character in this opening arc. A class of about 6 to 8 with 2 or 3 teachers would perhaps work better for this opening, and then you can introduce new teachers as the kids graduate to other classes and bring in new students as the years go on. Basically, the first 2 issues are all set up, and by issue 2 I really felt the story should have been underway. Also, for a book with his name in the title, Doctor Strange barely appears. He shows up briefly at the end of issue number 1, and then is completely absent from issue number 2. One would hope he'd play a bigger part, but Young seems more interested in using Zelda and Voodoo as the administrators. I'm actually a bit surprised that Scotty Young, primarily known as an artist, save for his Image comic I Hate Fairyland, itself following a few central characters, was given free range to set up such a large team book in Marvel. But then his Heroes as Kids variant covers have been super popular over the years, so maybe that's opened up more than a few doors for him. Not the least of which is having Humberto Ramos on art, a man who's usually drawing either the X-Men, Amazing Spider-Man, or other A-list titles. He does his usual great job in this book, making all the characters look unique and providing terrific action for the fight scenes.
It's a book with potential, but it suffers from too many characters and not enough plot. Hopefully that will change in future issues, but for now, I gave Strange Academy issues 1 and 2 3 out of 5 stars. If you're a fan of Humberto Ramos' art, it might be worth picking it up for that. Otherwise, I would wait to get the first story arc in a trade paperback to see if the characters and any real plot points begin to develop. This isn't a terrible book by any means, but it's overly ambitious and maybe a bit lazy with its writing. Speaking of lazy, why didn't Presto just pull a gun out of his old magic hat and shoot Venger in the D&D cartoon, huh? Magicians, they overthink everything! Until next time when a giant rabbit pulls me out of its hat, this is Comic Book Issues, and I'm your host, Brian Heinz.